You're stuck, aren't you? It feels like you're trapped in a loop. It's the same draining argument with your partner, over and over again. It's that same feeling of being totally unheard by your family, the same quiet frustrations with friends who just don't seem to get you. You try to explain it. You try to make them see your side, to understand what you need, to just change their behavior. You pour so much energy into trying to fix the dynamic, into steering the ship, but you just keep hitting the same walls, the same resistance, the same dead end. You're left feeling exhausted, unseen, and trapped in a pattern that never, ever seems to change. Your gut instinct is to try harder. Find a new way to phrase things, a better argument, the perfect moment to finally make them understand. Your whole goal is to change them, because you believe that if they would just change, everything would be okay. But what if the key to transforming your relationships has nothing to do with changing them at all? What if the single most powerful thing you can do is to stop trying to manage their world and start mastering your own? The answer comes from ancient Stoic philosophy, which offers one key insight that can break this cycle for good. It's a radical shift in perspective, but it is the only real path to peace and connection. Let's be honest with ourselves. All your attempts to control other people haven't really worked, have they? Not in the long run. Sure, you might get them to comply for a little while, a brief ceasefire in an ongoing war, but you haven't changed who they are, their habits, or how they see the world. Trying to control another person's thoughts and feelings is like trying to command the weather. You can scream at the storm, you can plead with the clouds, but the rain is going to fall. Your frustration doesn't change the storm. It only makes you miserable. This is the central source of pain for so many of us. We chain our own happiness to someone else's behavior. I'll be happy when they stop doing that. I'll feel respected when they finally start listening to me. We hand over the keys to our own emotional well-being to someone else, and then act surprised and hurt when they don't drive us where we want to go. The ancient Stoics saw this as the primary cause of human suffering. They knew our peace is shattered the moment we tie it to something outside of our own will. Relationships are messy, with a million factors we can't control. Our partner's feelings, their reactions, their entire personal history. Demanding that another person bend to our will isn't just a futile exercise. It's a recipe for resentment. It pushes people away and guarantees that we remain in a constant state of anxiety and disappointment. So, the first step is accepting a hard truth. You cannot change or control your partner. You can only control yourself. So where does that leave you? Are you just supposed to endure frustrating behavior forever? Absolutely not. The real solution, the great pivot offered by Stoicism, lies in what the philosopher Epictetus called the dichotomy of control. He put it simply, some things are up to us, and some things are not. Within our control are our judgments, our impulses, and our actions. Outside of our control, our bodies, our reputations, and crucially, the actions of others. He argued that all our misery comes from confusing those two categories. The real work isn't on them, it's on you. More specifically, it's on your judgments. The Stoics taught that we aren't disturbed by events, but by the view we take of them. Your partner leaving their socks on the floor isn't in and of itself a source of suffering. That's a neutral event. The suffering comes from the story you tell yourself about it. They're disrespecting me. They don't care about my feelings. I'm not valued here. The Roman Emperor Marcus Aurelius constantly coached himself on this. He wrote, "You have power over your mind, not outside events. Realize this, and you will find strength." This is where your true power is. Instead of trying to force your partner to pick up the socks, you can challenge the judgment that's causing you pain. Ask yourself, is it 100% true that this means they don't respect me? Could there be another explanation? Maybe they're tired, stressed, or just plain forgetful. By questioning your initial, emotional judgment, you create space. In that space, you can choose a different story. You can build what the Stoics called an inner fortress, a mind so disciplined that it can't be breached by the actions of others or the chaos of the outside world. Your peace becomes unconditional. It depends on nothing and no one but your own reasoned choice. Once you take back control of your judgments, you unlock your real superpower, the ability to choose your response. Most relationship conflicts are just pure reactivity. A spark of annoyance is met with a flash of anger, which is met with defensiveness, and the whole thing goes up in flames. Stoicism teaches us to hit pause. In that moment between what happens and how we respond, we have the freedom to choose reason over impulse. This isn't about bottling up your emotions. It's about acknowledging a feeling, like anger or hurt, and then deciding not to be ruled by it. The philosopher Seneca noted that anger is a brief insanity, and the damage it causes is often far worse than whatever caused it in the first place. So, instead of reacting with automatic anger, what if you chose a different path? Sometimes, the strongest response is strategic silence, which stops the fire from spreading and gives you time to think. When you do respond, you can do it from a place of virtue. The Stoics valued 4 cardinal virtues: wisdom, to see things clearly; justice, to act fairly and kindly; courage, to face difficulty without panicking; and temperance, to practice self-control. Before you speak, ask yourself, what would a wise response be here? What's the fair and just thing to say? Instead of a blaming accusation like, "You always do this," you could use an I statement that focuses on your experience. "I feel stressed when the house is cluttered." This simple switch changes the dynamic from a battle to be won into a problem to be solved together. You stop trying to score points and start trying to build understanding. This conscious, virtuous response is totally within your control, and it can transform any interaction. A common myth is that this Stoic approach leads to a cold, detached life without deep feeling. But the Stoics weren't robots. They simply made a distinction between destructive, irrational passions and a clear-sighted, rational kind of love. Marcus Aurelius wrote, "Accept the things to which fate binds you, and love the people with whom fate brings you together, but do so with all your heart." The point isn't to stop loving. It's to love with wisdom and without desperate, clinging attachment. This is the principle of amor fati, which means a love of one's fate. It means accepting and even embracing everything that happens, including your partner's imperfections and the challenges you face together. It's a love based on reality, not on a fantasy of who you wish the other person would be. When you practice this, you free both yourself and your partner from the crushing weight of unrealistic expectations. You can finally appreciate them for who they are, flaws and all, because your inner peace no longer depends on them being perfect. This approach actually builds deeper intimacy. When you aren't constantly trying to fix or change your partner, you create a safe space of acceptance where they can just be. When your happiness no longer depends on them, you relieve them of an impossible burden. You build a connection based on respect and freedom, not on dependency and control. As Seneca wisely warned, to be everywhere is to be nowhere. If you lose yourself trying to manage someone else, you lose the very foundation of who you are. A strong relationship is built by 2 strong individuals, not by one person trying to mold the other. Look, this shift isn't easy. It takes constant practice and a real commitment to mastering your own inner world. But this is the only path to the transformation you're looking for. The one key insight is this: stop trying to control what you can't. Focus every bit of your energy on what is yours and yours alone: your judgments, your character, and your responses. If this idea of building an inner fortress and transforming your relationships from the inside out resonates with you, please give this video a like and subscribe for more insights into ancient wisdom for modern life. I'd love to hear from you in the comments. What is one recurring frustration in your life that you could approach differently by focusing only on what you can control? By letting go of the need to change others, you give them the space to be human, and you give yourself the gift of unshakable peace. You move from a place of frustration to strength, from reactivity to reason, and from conditional happiness to a resilient inner tranquility that no one can ever take away from you. The greatest change in your relationships will happen the moment you realize the only person you ever needed to change was yourself.